The composition subset analysis allows us to quickly group together any components we'd like to see inside of a stream. So some examples of this, if you wanted to calculate the BTEX or the VOCs, the HAPs, anything like that within a stream for emissions purposes, you could. If you wanted to sum up how many hydrocarbons C3 and up you have, you could use it for that. Or if you were interested in knowing the total sulfur compounds within your crude oil, that's another common use for this analysis. To create this analysis, you can go into any stream and come to the Analysis tab, choose Add an Analysis, and choose the Composition Subset type. When you click OK, it's going to ask me first what I would like to name this analysis. So I'll usually name it after what I'm going to group together. In this case, I'm going to have it calculate my BTEX in this stream. Now in the middle of the analysis, we see a list of subsets that are already generated by ProMax. Things such as BTEX, C3 plus hydrocarbons, all of our sulfur components, or you can get into things like naphthas and gas oils, aromatics, things of that nature as well. But I'm going to choose BTEX only for this example. You'll see once I choose that now benzene, toluene, ethylbenzene, and xylene are the only things selected. Instead of using an already defined subset, you could just manually choose which components you want to sum up, and that works just fine as well. Also on this page, there's a checkbox to choose whether we want this summation to be done on an atomic basis. So what that would mean that instead of summing things together component by component, we would look at the atoms themselves. So we sum up all the carbon, all the hydrogen. The most common use of this is when we want to know the total sulfur that we have in a stream for like sulfur recovery type situations. So in this case, that's not what we want, so I won't check that. I'm going to click Solve and come over now to the Results tab. You'll see now that it's summed up the flow rates for all these different components that I have selected. Now there's a couple other things to mention here on the Results tab. You can see we can choose which phase we want to look at. So right now it's looking at the BTEX in total, but if you only wanted the BTEX in the vapor or the liquid, you could select that from the list. For fraction denominator, this means for our mole fractions, you can see right now it's adding up to 100%. It's just showing us what percentage comes from each of these components. If we want to sum up the mole fraction out of all the species in the streams, we could select that. And now when I solve, it shows us their actual mole fractions within that stream. There's also the species in results option. Right now it's only showing the species that we had selected, but you could change this to show all species. And when we solve, it will just show zeros for the species that we have not selected. And so that gives you a little added customization within this analysis. And so that's how this composition subset analysis works.